in terms of economy, recently we have been heading to even the worst position rather than making it better. So today we are having an host in with me. So today we are going to talk about the economy of the country and the state of Africa, and what are we going to do to ensure that we are making it even better. I am your host, Paul Isendi. I'm here with a panAfricanist, and we are going to discuss the fate of Africa and the fate of economy in Kenya, and what are we going to do at least to make it a little bit better than it is. So welcome, Mr. Victor, so that you tell us what do you think, what is your name, and what do you do?
Okay, thank you so much for that.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Victor Otieno.
Mm-hmm.
Rather, I'm not a founder of a panAfricanist group movement, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm a panAfricanist. Yeah,
Okay.
panAfricanist is just identifying myself with the panAfricanism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so currently I'm into different groups of panAfricanism,
Mm-hmm.
but also I'm a champion in my own unique way,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, of panAfricanism.
Mm-hmm.
So majorly I deal with looking Africa in the best lens that I can have it. Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking of looking at Africa in a lens that is more of what is the uniqueness in your lens, other than those other people's using. Which lens are they using, and which lens are you using to
Okay.
ensure that you're looking and in your lens, what do you see Africa?
Okay. So Africa is a continent full of opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
but also we have a lot of challenges.
Yes.
However much we have challenges, we tend to focus much on our challenges rather than what we can really bring as a solution to the continent.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rather focus on bringing real solution to the continent in a way that is able to tap into the real resource that we have as part. Because if you see Africa, people see it from the lens of we have natural resources, which is very true. We have a lot of things that you can like tap into and make our economy to thrive. But we have to look it from the point of how are we going to be able to be linked directly to these resources, so that we are able to thrive and develop our human capital, and realize that from our human capital we can create something that can like make our economy to have a radical positive confrontation to the global world.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is the lens that you are talking about. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
when you say
Yeah.
the lens, maybe I
Yeah,
thought
yeah, I
having
mean-
your own satellite somewhere
No,
to
no, no.
look at Africa. Yet we are using the Chinese as
no,
in it.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
So what does a pan-Africanist movement, or rather pan-Africanism, deal with as far as Africa is concerned and our economy is concerned?
Okay, I would rather first say that the modern way we need to redefine Pan-Africanism need to be more different from the way it was defined in the last 30 to 40 years. Because in the most cases when you talk of Pan-Africanism, people view it as a concept that only deals with the historical aspect. Then also some people who see it as something that Pan-Africanism deals with people who are emotional about the pains and the sufferings that Africans have been undergoing through. So people always tend to feel Pan-Africanism as a concept that only lies in historical context, also in the context of people who like are emotional Africans about our past painful history in terms of slavery and everything. So the real Pan-Africanism of this century need to leverage, or we need to redefine it, and it has to lie on two things. One, it has to lie on the mental liberation, yeah, and the second thing, it need to lie on the economical liberation. So Pan-Africanism of this century, of this hour, it needs to be linked to two things. That is mental reconstruction in a way, and then also economic reconstruction.
Okay.
The two are the major pillars of the Pan-Africanism of which we should like discuss in this century.
Oh, when you're talking about Pan-Africanism, I thought you were thinking of how we are going to fight the Europeans who remained in Africa. I thought you are talking about how we are going to ensure that Africa, those people who maybe in one way or another were being mistreated by these colonists, that they in a way or another are being
Okay,
maybe
yeah.
maybe paid or something of that kind. So that is, you proving that Pan-Africanism is all about making Africa better.
It's all about making, because Africa houses all races, that is a fact. And if we say Pan-Africanism is to be centric in a way that we're going to be fighting another race, that we are not going to make Africa home for everybody. But Africa is the future of humanity. It is going to the continent that will host the all humanity in the next decades. So if we say that Pan-Africanism, we have to be African centric. We're not going to win host, because Africa, we are diverse beings. We have different races coming from us. Is a biological and historical fact. So we need to redefine Pan-Africanism to be something that is going to be inclusive, and however much is going to be centric to the development of the continent. We are centric to the development of the continent, but this is the continent of the future. So our Pan-Africanism should lie towards bringing inclusivity. But as long as, because if you say we are going to fight, yes, we are going to fight, because when you're going to do the issue of economy, is one of the hardest silent cold wars that are happening in the world. Because it comes to economy, Pan-Africanism need to take shape, and I believe, and I'm very confident that this is the only solution that we have now as a continent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you talk that in Africa, mostly the challenge is that we are thinking about the negatives, the problems that we are facing, and we are not thinking about, we are not thinking of the solutions. So what is your message to fellow Africans, fellow Kenyans who are listening, or rather they are coming across your message? What is your message to them about thinking the negative rather than thinking of how we are going to solve the issues affecting us?
Okay, first I will not say that it's really bad to think of the negatives, because from the problem is where we find the solution.
Yes.
So my message will be this, that as much as we are trying to build the continent and the country that the children need to have, we need to know the real problem. Because all problems that we are told might be not a problem if you don't take time to look deep into it. So for example, when you look at an issue of our economy as a problem now, everybody tends to say our leaders are the problem. But the fact remains that even now, if you were to blame anybody for economy, it will only be the leaders. You will not choose for us there's nobody we can blame for it apart from the leaders. So we need to say that, okay, as citizens, do we have any power within us? As this power, is there any power that lies within us that can make us transform our economy without us pushing it to other people? And at the same time, when we are talking of our problems and talking of the unity of Africa, do we think unity as a boundary, or we think unity as me and you? So we need to look ourselves and say, if we are to unite Africa, then it is me and you. Are we having a common objective, a common goal? That can make us connected and work towards that purpose. So we have to redefine the purpose we are working towards. Then we look something that can connect in us all, because we are people of diversity. We are from different ethnic grounds. Africa has over 2,000 ethnic groups. So which means all these people, you find there's one thing unique in them. So we need to look at this, look at what connects us all. Let us not push everything to leaders. Leaders are incapacitated because they're looking towards so many people. So what is it, the power that we hold? Then what are these problems? What are things that are behind the scenes that we don't know? Yeah.
So as a Pan-Africanist, we know that the African continent, as well as Kenya, let's use the Kenyan context, that we are having problems. What do you think are the main challenges affecting Kenya, and what are the solutions, even to the continent level?
Okay, so Africa and even Kenya, all these countries in Africa, we have got a common problem. These are an economy. Let me say, Africa, when you look at the big problem that we are facing is fragmentation. Fragmentation is division in almost everything we do. Yeah, you get even in the Pan-Africanism, which we speak of, which we seek to be uniting Africa, itself is divided, because you wake up today, people create different Pan-African groups. They don't want to have a place to be together. So fragmentation is a big number one problem of the continent, which means we are not linked together for one purpose. So fragmentation is a very big problem that we have in the continent. And then when this fragmentation did not start today, if you look, the Berlin Conference, which took 3 months and 15 days, that is 1884 to 1885, those guys were dividing Africa. They were not only dividing boundaries, they were dividing even the economical structure, infrastructure patterns of the continent. So our connection was really completely fragmented. So this is the biggest problem we are facing as a continent and as a country, that we are fragmented to a point whereby we cannot stand with one voice or one purpose in tackling a challenge. And then if you can look at how our economy of the countries are modeled. For example, if you see Kenya, we are like not producers, like Africa, mostly countries. We are just merely consumers. All that we eat, all that we use, we like don't produce them. So like you get an instance whereby Kenya, we like then our problem is also more global than it is just within the continent. Because you see, for example, Kenya cannot solve its problem itself. Uganda cannot solve its problem alone. Nigeria the same. So you get that there's some organization that, let me say, the international organization, such as the World Trade Organization, the World Bank, IMF. All these are institutions that are like perpetuating us to depend on them economically. Like you see, for example, I want to give an example that in African countries, we borrow over 8 to 10% interest rate. You like, if you were to borrow a loan, it has to be of that interest rate. But if you compare with a country like US, they're borrowing at less interest rate. At the same time, the market, where us we have got skilled personnel who are like producing their goods. So you get these people are producing goods. When they take to the market, they compete with some countries such as Chinese, all these European countries who have got free market policies. Like there is a free market policy between Kenya and these countries, and these names African countries and this, so that they're able to dump their goods, the same goods we are producing. So like the loan that you get is coming back, it's go to consumption, buying these goods, it goes back outside. So that is the context of something called illegal financial, let me say illicit financial flows. Money are just flowing into the country, but they're not channeled to a development. They're just channeled to consumption and going back. So we don't own an economy. We own just like we just consumers. People just like there, we get the money, we put into things that are not produced within the. So like there is no flow of money within the society, and if there is no flow of money within us, within us in a society, because as a country, then there is no economy there. Like that is just something that I don't even know how to describe.
Now you're talking about fragmentation and that the money is not flowing within us. Now, on behalf of those people who don't understand what is fragmentation, so will you kindly explain to them what is this fragmentation?
Okay, fragmentation means that we are doing the same thing, or let me say we are talking of African unity. We are talking of us standing together, but everybody's doing them from their angles. We are just doing the same thing. The bottom line is that everybody's like saying that let us unite, let us do this, let us do this. But at the end of it all, we are standing at every point and trying to think that ours, which is the most unique one. Like somebody thinks that me, I have this African group, Pan-African whatever, Pan-African this. At the end of the day, you see they're not closed in one house. Everybody's like, it's somehow of self-interest thing. So like people don't feel like, people like, because they know Africa, we are soft. We have a soft spot that we need to unite. So if somebody comes telling me that I have to unite, I form this, both somebody forms this. So this is the fragmentation part of it. And then fragmentation also comes in the economy aspect, whereby Kenya and let me say South Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, all these they're producing different goods. But at the same time, they're producing some same goods. So you get that they don't have that combining voice. However much now we have something called Africa Free Trade Area Agreement, the FCFTA, which try to increase more trade between African countries. But to realize that it is being given to the youth to accelerate this. In fact, even today, African union as let me say it as let me say the agenda is accelerating the FCFTA. Yeah? So which means more youths between African countries need to trade with each other. But realize that what I trade is from China. What it trades is from Europe. So like it can't grow. It can't. It will just grow in the context of increasing market access for these foreign countries.
Now,
Yes.
you've said that the main problem of Africa is not unity. People are focusing on uniting and not building the economy. What is this economy activities that they need to do, and not to trade within from other rather continent or from other countries that are outside Africa, that the youth and the country at large are supposed to do to ensure that they don't focus on unity, rather they focus on something that is going to build the economy?
I think focusing in unity is not bad. In fact, it is so good. Yeah. But focusing on unity with dogs is not effective. We need to focus on unity with purpose. What are we going to do so that we are able to set these timelines? That today I'm going to do this, tomorrow that guy is Ghana, this guy in Nigeria, this guy in Morocco. What he's going to do so that we move together. So focusing in unity is a priority. But we need to focus on priority with a purpose. Because we can be talking. Let me say, I'm in so many Pan-African groups. I see them like talking here, I want to unite Africa, this one. They feel like what they have is the most unique, which is okay. But why can't we bring all these concepts together? Then because we build Africa. Because if we don't, let me say, this is the biggest window of opportunity we have in the century. If we pass this window of opportunity, and fail to unite or fail to bring the real context, then you're going to like make it economic slavery for our children. So the issue is that the economic thing that we need to do is that we need to have a purpose, yeah, which I know we already have, we already have, but only that we're standing at different points. Yeah, we are deciding, everybody's speaking about to unite Africa from this point, this one. So like people are not in one place.
So do you mean that this challenge only lies with those people who are dealing with Pan-Africanism, or it lies with all the other members of these countries? That it does. I know that there are people who even don't think about Pan-Africanism. They are on their own. So what is about these people who are on their own, but they don't contribute to economic growth?
Okay, so that is why now we say people can be their own, but in fact they have been contributing to economic growth. So what I would say is that Pan-Africanism is a concept that can be put in every diverse thing. That's why when I was starting, I said that we need to redefine Pan-Africanism, so that we know that the Pan-Africanism of this century is Pan-Africanism that deals with the mental and economic liberation. Yeah. So which means these are the two things that we need to address. And if I'm going to address issue of economy, everybody will be on board, because everybody's after money, or everybody's after something that is going to improve in life. But me, something to do with mental, something that is going to improve somebody, a capacity in terms of how to have this collective identity as a continent. So like we need to like have this running around. But that Pan-Africanism is a concept that even if I start my business, I can put it there. Yeah. If I start if I'm in my agricultural farm, the concept can still be there. Yeah. It can be a concept that I join this farm today, but I have a dream of going to Uganda. Yeah. So like it is to grow within us, that we don't limit ourselves to this national interest thing. Yeah. National interest thing of like Kenya, this is my Kenya, this is my, let me see, the national interest thing is good, yes, but it doesn't give a vibrant room to tap into the real resource that we have now as a continent.
Now you're talking about we also need to think about our mental health. So what do you think that mental health plays a role in ensuring that a country and a continent is thriving?
Okay, this is more of mental liberation. Yeah, so mental liberation is a way that the only thing that we need to have is that we need to have collective identity. If you go to China, Japan, all these countries, they know themselves. They know what they want. Like they have that collective identity as a country. Yeah. But if you come to somewhere like Kenya or Africa, you get that this guy thinks that something, he can westernize the continent and think that is development. Somebody can think that it can bring a concept that is foreign and fits the context of Africa. So like we need to have a collective identity of who we are. We need to know where we are from and where we are. So collective identity brings with it, we have to be culture centric. Yeah, we have to be culture centric and like preserve ourselves in the way we are. Yeah, you get that Africa, there's even people like trying to feel that black skin is not good. Yeah, so like there is not that collective identity of who we are. So that begins the mental liberation of what we are. So after we know ourselves, a society that knows itself is the only society that can grow. But a society that thinks that there is somebody who is not within the country, who is not within the country, who can come from another country and develop this continent is a lie. We have to have collective identity. Then from collective identity, this is what is going to give birth to economic liberation. So all this is what is relating here. Yeah. So a mental liberation and economic liberation links up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, as a continent and as a country, we are not in the right track. We've already messed up to some point, and our economy is nowhere near perfection. What is the point that we are supposed to take, or rather, what are we going to do as a country, as a continent, and as an individual? Who maybe the country might fail, but as an individual can approach this way, or rather method, and ensure that from that very first point of an individual level, the economy is going to be improved and the state of the country and Africa is going to be better.
Okay, the biggest problem that we have in the continent in terms of economy and the solution that we need to put in place is that everybody is not linked to participate directly to the economy, which means our economy is there, but everybody is not linked to the economy. And if you can see Africa, we have our biggest resource, which means in the next 50 years, let me say the African population is going to be the biggest workforce in the world, the largest market in the continent. So which means we need to like see that the best resource we have now might be the gold, yeah, which we have the mineral resources, but it be the crops that we're planting, but to realize that we don't capitalize on them. We only export them unprocessed. Yeah, so which means we export them unprocessed, like they don't really grow our economy. Because let me say, for example, I want to give you an example with coffee, that Kenya was exporting in a year $6 billion. Yeah, it exported it unprocessed, but when it comes back to the market, it is over $100 billion. Yeah, and in fact they're going to use half of the money that they're going to buy that. So which means, as much as we always say that okay, our main resource now is the crops, agriculture, all this, which is true, yeah, but it can't solve the problem now.
No.
So the best thing that we need to do now is that our best resource is overcoming this division and fragmentation. The continent has got youths, yeah, youths who are like not linked to the economy. So what are these youths are into? Yeah, if somebody is learning, somebody is talented, somebody is interested in mentorship, somebody, let me say, we look at our diversity, then capitalize on that.
Now, you're talking about to make the people to understand better. You're saying that we are more of consumers than producers, and you're talking about we need to make our economy better. So what is the role of economy, and or rather, what is the importance of growing our economy and changing from consumers to producers, and what is that needs to be done so that we become producers and not consumers?
The first concept I'm going to say is this: we are going to create, not that we need to, but we are going to create something called solidarity for economy. Solidarity of economy is where everybody in any way different from any part of the world in Africa can identify himself to participate in the economy. He's going to be given a chance to contribute directly or indirectly to grow the economy. So like there is a concept that we need to have, that is solidarity. Because let me say, if today we have over 70% yeah, of the population of Africa are youths, yeah, and these youth are into something, yeah, and we want to change the continent of Africa, even Nigeria itself, for one sake. If you have a solidarity for economy for all this solidarity, and this solidarity is going to come from our diversity. So there is a concept we are working on currently that is looking towards having. How can we tap into the solidarity because this is the concept that can now like tap into the real resource we have now, because as much as we have all these natural resources, but the best resource we have now is human resource. We are so many, we have the energy, we have the talent, we have everything. So if we connect this one to link it to the economy, then we use it to develop other parts of this economy. This is the only, let me say, this is the only solution I see. Because if you can see all other areas have been captured, the economy is fixed. The game is fixed. Even the political leaders cannot have real decisions in making our economic decisions.
Right, so we, even our political leaders are failing to some point to have the solutions to ensure that the economy is thriving. Now, what is your last message to the people out there, the Kenyans at large, the Africans, the leaders, and the people who are Pan-Africanists and are playing a role in ensuring that the community understands themselves and are chipping in to ensure that the economy is growing out there?
Yeah, I think my message will be to everybody, not to Pan-Africanists alone. I want to say that this is a big window of opportunity as a continent. Yeah, we are a very big window of opportunity, and this window is whereby we are like thriving as the population that is like growing much. The global arena is not really equal for us to like win the situation, but when you come and look into us and realize that the potential we have now is a potential that nobody can take away from us. That is our population. So it's a window of opportunity that we need to come into and have collective identity. This is not a matter of I want this or the country needs this. This is a matter of the continent needs this. If you can focus on South Africa, as a country, look at the problems they face. Look at the problems Kenya is facing, Nigeria, Tanzania, Egypt, all these countries. Look at all these concepts. They are leveraging to one thing. Do we want betterment for Africa? So my message will be very simple. Let us have collective identity, and let us look into what each and every one of us, no matter how big, small, or you can be, remember there is a future for our children. And these are the people that we need to work even extra hard to create something that will stay. Today we can have profits coming from these state-owned farms which are now being privatized. But tomorrow, our children will never get them effective because of our institutions are being under this control. So collective identity and solidarity of economy is the only way out for now. And I believe that when we come together and see these are the real oxygen, not just backbone, real oxygen, and I believe we are going to like build the continent we have.
Thank you so much for letting the Africans, letting the society, and letting the entire world to understand what it needs to be done, especially to Africans and Kenyans who are there and need to understand that what is the main challenge as to why they are facing some problems in the community. We are hoping that this marks the beginning of letting and changing the situation of the out there, and letting people understand that we are not only fighting for ourselves on matters of maybe unity. We are at a point that we are even united more than the economy of the country and the continent at large, and even at a global level. So we take this opportunity to really appreciate you, and hoping that you're going to push that idea further, and the Pan-Africanists are going to even make people understand that Pan-Africanism is not only fighting fighting the way people initially, the initial foundation of Pan-Africanism. They are saying that we are fighting to redeem the image of Africans, or rather to liberate them from slavery and so forth. So thank you so much, and we are hoping that you will not stop at that point.
Thank you so much.
So to everybody out there, that is what we are lacking. We are hoping that we are going to even share more on matters of affecting the country and Africans and the global, to ensure that we are moving to the right directions. So what is your take on matters of economy, matters of Pan-Africanism, and do you think we have a role to play, and do you have a role, you as an individual, to play to ensure that we are making our economy better, and as well we are making Africa grow better and not just uniting ourselves, but rather uniting with purpose and making the economy even better. Thank you. See you next time. Leave your comments, leave your ideas behind, so that next time we are going to talk about it. We are starting from where you left, or rather your messages, and then we'll proceed from there. Thank you. Till next time.